found his dog covered in blood.
So you just find a dog covered in blood like that? Seriously.
According to the legend, he rushed into the baby's room, only to find the crib knocked over and dripping with red. His baby boy
I'm gonna spit in the dog, eat it, man.
was nowhere to be found. Enraged, the man pulled out his sword and slayed his own dog who had killed his child. But as the dog let out his final breath, a baby's cry rang through the room. He was safe under the crib.
Wait.
And next to him was the body of a wolf. You see, his dog had actually killed the wolf to protect the baby, a loyal companion who was mistaken for a beast.
That old thing I'm gonna get for say is just why.
If you were put in a microwave,
Who think of this idea anyway?
the water molecules in your body would heat up because of the radiation being beamed at you. Your skin would start to burn and blister, and you'd quickly go blind. Your organs would boil and then break open, causing internal bleeding. And gas pockets in your digestive system would expand.
How do you know this? Right, answer the question. Did you put someone in there, a baby?
And until your stomach burst. Within just a few minutes, your body would be destroyed, and you'd be cooked from the inside out.
It will be cooked. Rose the delivery cook. You know it's bad when Zack have to cancel his video. Whatever. This video got the most Zack video ever.
I love surprises.
They watched the mysterious man move into the village, and soon enormous stones appeared on his land.
So why is the Wi-Fi not working?
Enormous stones appeared on his land. Every time they looked, a new one would be there, stacked perfectly on top of the others. Now, these stones weighed up to 21 tons each, but there were never any other workers or machinery. And since he worked in secret, no one ever saw how he was moving them. When they asked, he claimed he knew the ancient secrets. Some neighbors believed he was lifting the stones with supernatural powers. He even claimed he knew how the pyramids were built. But when he died, he took his secret to the grave, leaving only the castle behind.
Weirdo.
They
That is the old thing I
The
got
mysterious
with that video.
man move.
Now see where the comments say he have the power of creating more. Ain't no way, bro. Ghost lifted it. Blah blah blah. Womp.
They watched.
Why's the Wi-Fi not working? Come on, man. Yeah, don't mind that. Why's anything not working?
They watched the mysterious.
Finally.
They watched the mysterious.
I'm still waiting. My clock is still on.
If you bought every possible lottery number, would it guarantee that you would win the jackpot? Well, one guy actually tried this. He set up a lottery business and bought ticket machines that would print out about 100 tickets every 10 seconds. Each one cost $1, and since there were 26 million possible combinations, he spent $26 million on his plan.
What?
When the lottery was finally drawn, he, of course, had the winning ticket. And after expenses, he still made over $30 million. But after that, they changed the rules, meaning you can't try this yourself.
Oh, man.
If you bought every... Slide 20 cigarettes into the metal frame, packed tightly side by
Let's start like this.
side. Each One connects to a funnel that feeds into a single metal mouthpiece. To light them, you strike a match and run it across the row, igniting all 20
There's
at
something up
once.
my bad.
Smoke
I'm
pours through
daring
the
you.
chamber
Something
and
up my
into the
bad.
narrow tube. When you
Something
take a
up my
drag,
bad.
air pulls through every cigarette at the same time. Which means
Something
with
up my
every breath,
bad.
you're inhaling an entire pack. As if one cigarette wasn't deadly enough. Slide
Oh
20.
my god, you man
They
is
cut off his
becoming
hands as
dumber every
punishment,
damn
then sent
day.
him back to his people with instructions to surrender. But the warrior convinced them to keep fighting, and instead of
I'm going to respect all this man.
sitting out the battle, he sealed his wounds with hot metal. Next, he tied knives to his wrists. And when they went to war,
This
he
is
cut
kinda
down his
smart.
enemy, including the general's second in command. Eventually, his people were defeated, but even though they lost, the warrior fought till the very end. They cut off his hands as
R.I.P. man.
inside, a gas generator ignites, creating a blast of hot gas that turns the water at the bottom into steam, pushing the nuke out of the launch tube. It rockets upward, breaking through the ocean's surface in just seconds. Once it's clear of the water, the missile's first stage engines ignite, propelling the missile high into the upper atmosphere. Then it detaches, and the second stage
What
engine
is this
fires,
for? Going
sending
to
it even
space?
farther and
Look
faster.
in the moon,
Finally,
look
the
in the
third
astro.
stage carries the warheads into space. There, they separate and begin falling back to Earth, each locked in on its own target.
Oh, so
Inside-
why is it straight up America? No, what the hell is that
Back
straight
to
at
Earth, each
America?
locked in
No,
on
like
its
look
own
it
target.
straight at America.
Inside-
Maybe one of them go to the United Kingdom already. One of them really go. That them you should be used for science class. Hell no.
Your teeth come loose, falling out into your hand one
Really?
by one. Now, this is one of
Those
the
are
most
some
common
sharp
nightmares
teeth.
people have. You see, teeth can be a symbol of strength and appearance. And since they're one of the first things people notice, losing them feels like losing control. So some people think this is your brain's way of processing stress. But in reality, it actually happens when you clench your teeth while sleeping. You see, your brain takes these physical feelings and weaves them into vivid dreams of your teeth falling out, trying to make sense of the pain while you sleep. Your
That
teeth come
must be
loose.
bad. Respect to the guy that started to respect you. All I need to say, my teeth is gaslighting me. People need to say respect to who respect who. Oh God, I'm done with this.
Your teeth. It was longer than a school bus and could open its mouth wide enough to swallow a full-grown human. And this is how it compares to the biggest snake alive today. Its body was thicker than a barrel, and it would be as high as your waist if you stood next to it. It would wrap itself around a massive crocodile, crushing it hard enough to rupture organs before swallowing it whole in a single bite. It was longer than a school bus.
Why God would it create that? Okay, we gotta respect and kill all snakes in the world. Who likes snakes? That is your problem. I'm not saying that. Just whatever. Oh, shut up. I up so much.
It was long. The boat shattered in half as the enemy ship tore through it, and the crew were thrown into the water. The commander saw that one man was injured and pulled him along using only his teeth. After swimming for miles, they finally reached a small island, but they had no way to call for help, and it took days for locals to find them. The commander carved a message into a coconut and sent them to nearby forces, who finally rescued the soldiers. And that man would become the 35th President of the United States. The boat.
Yeah, in the past, SOS help me. Oh, you got Zack sing for Elf. But when it's going to start, I'm getting sick and tired. You guys don't see I like nothing. You guys don't see nothing. Nothing you guys didn't see.
You would be pinned flat on your back with your arms and legs stretched out to each side. Then a heavy wooden board would be legs stretched out to each side. Then a heavy wooden board would be placed across your chest and stomach.
No more stones.
Large stones were slowly stacked onto the board, adding more and more weight. As the stones piled up, the pressure on your body increased, making breathing extremely difficult and painful. This continued for hours or even days.
I didn't you just come make me cry.
This continued for hours or even days
Say,
until
what did you do? Say, what did you do? Just say it. Say it. God, that is not hard.
continued for hours or even days until you agreed to plead guilty. And if you still refused, they would add enough weight to crush your chest inwards, slowly killing you. You would be pinned. He slipped on the high heels, adjusted his wig, and walked nervously past the guards. You see, he had switched clothes with his wife while she was visiting. Dressed fully as a woman, the prisoner hoped this disguise would get him out unnoticed.
No.
And he actually made it through the checkpoint without suspicion. But he couldn't walk well in high heels, stumbling as he moved outside the gates. Guards nearby spotted his awkward steps, realized who he was, and they arrested him on the spot. His clever escape failed,
Where did the two I'm not
all because he picked the wrong shoes for the getaway.
But where the two Balu? I'm not saying anything. What is the AI video? Wait. Okay, I'm done.
The bird swallows the sharp rocks after eating its prey, and these end up inside its stomach. Now, this is because it doesn't have teeth to chew with, meaning the bones in its food could puncture its intestines. But if it eats these rocks, they'll rub against the bones. This slowly crushes them, allowing them to be digested. And once the stones are smoothed out, the bird will spit them out and swallow new ones.
I know little bones that come out.
He threw a broken fridge down the mysterious hole, and even though he waited to hear if it hit the bottom, no sound ever came back up. A neighbor threw his dead dog down there, and a few days later, it was seen running through his garden. But living dogs refused to go near it. The owner of the property lowered 80,000 feet of fishing line, attaching weights to check the depth. He even added candy to the end. In case he was hitting water, the candy would dissolve. But it still never touched the bottom. Eventually, black fans showed up, and government agents seized his land, paying the man off and sending him to the other side of the world. And to this day, no one's been able to prove anything. He threw a broken...
Because it's
They stuffed sawdust into her limbs and made her skin out of swan skin. You see, a man had paid a doll maker to build an exact replica of his ex. He asked for soft layers under the skin to feel like real flesh, and a mouth that opened. And he even requested real hair to be sewn into the doll. Now, when it finally arrived, it looked nothing like her, but he kept it anyway. He dressed it in her clothes, placed it on the couch, and took it to parties. But after several months, he beheaded the doll before smashing it with bottles of wine. They stuffed sawdust into... A man walked into his... They stuffed...
You just waste everything, man.
A man walked into his basement, but he never came back out. His wife went to check on him, but she didn't come out either. And their teenage son did the same thing. Finally, the grandmother went in after them and collapsed in the pile of bodies. You see, the family stored potatoes in their cellar, but as they rotted, they released a toxic gas. As each family member entered, they were quickly suffocated, killed by their own spuds.
Oh god.
A man
And a
walked.
pile of dead zombies.
Have you ever walked into a room to get something and
Nope.
instantly forget why you're there? Well, this actually
Yeah.
happens because of the doorway. You see, your brain sees the doorway as the start of a new event, so your short-term memory is wiped to prepare your brain for what comes next, meaning you forget what you needed. To undo this, just step back into the hallway and retrace your steps. This reloads the mindset
What?
you left behind, allowing you to
Wait, I need
remember
to see
what
the
you were doing.
comments.
Have you ever
Man, this. Let's read it. Yeah, that's
walked into a
happened to
room to get
everyone.
something? The machine started rolling straight toward his nephew, so he climbed onto the moving track trying to get to the cab, but it quickly pulled him under. His ribs snapped like twigs, puncturing a lung. When his head hit the ice, it popped an eye right out of the socket. Bone shards tore his liver, and his ankle shattered beneath the steel. He was airlifted in critical condition, convinced he was going to die. Metal rods and screws stabilized his shattered leg, while plates and wires rebuilt his jaw and eye socket. He spent weeks in intensive care, unable to move and struggling to breathe. But just 1 year later, he was back on set, acting again. The I ate
He's
600.
very lucky.
If you flew a spaceship all the way to the edge of the universe, what would you find? Well, space might not actually end, but instead split into different universes,
What?
each with a different reality. Or you might find yourself back where you started, since space could actually exist in an infinite loop that curves in every direction. But it's possible that this is all just a simulation, created by a hyper-intelligent being. Reaching the edge would expose the limits of the program, hitting a wall of code that you could never break through. If you flew a
Okay, that is enough for Zack film today. Okay, guys, subscribe to him. He's a very great YouTuber, and I find him great. So subscribe to him. Bye. Goodbye. Now goodbye.
they cut
Oh, not one more. Bye, guys. Bye.